Oi oi, it's your boy Jack Slack. I got tired of talking about striking because I wrote a big article called Alexander Volkanovski's sidestepping system about how he beat Diego Lopez by almost entirely circling to the right. And I put that up on the Patreon for the Patreon boys. Today, I thought I'd do a bit of graps. We're going to go straight down the dick hole of MMA meta and talk about some stuff that is you're starting to see, but I think it might become bigger. We'll start here with Stevie Ray. This is his last fight submitting Lewis Long. He's on Long's back, trying to choke him, as you oft do when you're on someone's back. And what he's going to do here is fall off to the side a bit, use his hand to assist him, lock the inside body triangle, leg inside here. Normally on a body triangle, that leg would be on the outside of this leg here. And he starts falling to his back and going, oh no, you're going to get on top. As happens in every MMA fight ever. And Long goes, yes, I am. Turns into him. Stevie Ray arches his hips into his side here. He's locked in place by the inside body triangle. Talks him that way. Gets the tap. So inside body triangle and the Scottish Twister. Scottish Twister is like a trick off the inside body triangle. But the reason that this is interesting is that in MMA, this is Jailton Almeida, supposed to be one of the best controlling grapplers in MMA. The moment that he gets mount, Spivak turns his back, grabs that wrist so that he can roll through and my boy Henry Akins has written about this before, but look at this. This guy, in a jiu-jitsu sense, this guy is dominating. In an MMA sense, he was in the most dominant position where you can punch the guy in the head for free. You're sitting on their chest. They're having a horrible day. Now, where's your punches, bro? What are you going to do? You could heel strike him like BJ Penn, but nobody does that. Certainly not a heavyweight. And now, what's the plan? You have a choke that you can threaten him with. You're wearing giant gloves that even if he doesn't hold the cuff of illegally, he's still got a big thing to grab onto. And most of the time, he's going to end up putting his elbow over his head and turning back into you. Suddenly, you're on the bottom. How many times have you seen this? I talk about this all the time with Fluffy Hernandez because he doesn't fully get on the back a lot. In modern MMA, if you get on the back and you fall onto the bottom on their back, you normally end up on the bottom of closed guard shortly after. And it ain't just grappling savants. Here's Derek Lewis on the bottom, Jailton Almeida throwing some strikes for once from the top. Bridges and rolls. This is actually pretty cool. I stole this from Derek Lewis because it seems silly, but it's not. I mean, this is what they used to do in the old days of the Gracie Challenge. You bridge and you roll onto your front when they mount you. This guy then chokes you out from the back. But as you roll, provided you don't go to your belly, provided you're up on your knees, look at this. Lewis is going to go to this with both hands. Now, oh, bro, where's your strikes? You're on the bottom again. Choke's nowhere close. He's going to try and come up on top. Lewis is going to turn back in. And that was like the one time Lewis got off the bottom in that fight. The dude most famous for this is probably probably Anthony Pettis. Here he is. He did it like 5 times against Charles Oliveira. Who's given their back up 5 times to Charles Oliveira and then escaped to top position every single time? That is how Pettis won this fight. He just tired him out and then beat him up. So in this instance, this is the choking arm, the one that's over the shoulder. Oliveira's other arm is under the armpit here, as you can see. Pettis is going to whip this elbow up overhead here. Danaher, I think, calls this the headlock escape, but he saw Tim Kennedy doing it to Roger Gracie, and Roger Gracie's the best grappler ever. Tim Kennedy is just some guy, but Tim Kennedy escaped his back control with this very same technique. Ready? Boom, up and over, turns in, he's on top. Here's another nice example. Up and over, straight on top. And then this one's a little bit different. I mean, the functional movement of your hips and everything else is the same, but the grips are different. Gives up his back because he was on the bottom. Lets Charles put him on top. Turns back into him. Slow it way down. So, Charles's gloves are blue. Pettis' gloves are red. The one that's over the shoulder, that's the choking hand. The other one's the control hand. This one's just important because he controls both wrists and he pushes them up over his head. If you whip the choking arm over your head, it makes turning back into them a lot easier. Boom, like that. So all that is to say that Pettis is very good at escaping people being on his back. Here's Stevie Ray taking his back in their first fight. Immediately goes to the inside body triangle, which again is a body triangle, but where this foot here would normally be outside Pettis' left leg there, it's inside across the body, which means that Stevie Ray is sort of side on here. He pretends he's going to do some stuff here. It's harder to choke people if you're not like properly behind them on their back. You can see he's slipping off to the side here. Pettis gets the hand over the head, getting ready to turn in. There's my boy James Doolan from higher level in the corner. Turns in, boom. So up to there, that's a perfect escape. But gets his body cranked. Doesn't that look nasty? And he's done it in grappling too. This is a match at Polaris. Polaris is the grappler. Goes immediately to the inside body triangle here. And this is much more like when you watch Bryce Mitchell or someone like that forcing the twister. Gets off to the other side of his head. So he's got both hands on this side of his head. He's going to try and pass. He's going to use a Kimura grip to try and pass this hand underneath the armpit. Kimura grip. That hand through. There you go. Now he's going to try and punch all the way up to the elbow and get the head. And now this just looks like a regular twister where you would have control on the leg instead of the body triangle. Gnarly. And then just with this last week, Jake Hadley, who you might not even know left the UFC, here he is, inside body triangle. He's pretending he's going to come up on top and arm triangle this guy. Kind of hard to do that without unlocking your legs. To get on top, that is. We'll talk about getting on top in a minute, but he's pretending he's going to arm triangle this guy. Guy rolls back in, puts him in under the armpit, and look at that. Look at how his body's twisted there, with the hip going into the side of his body. That's a huge part of it. It wouldn't work if you're straight behind them. But the foot there is important too. But it's an awesome submission straight off the inside body triangle. But there's other reasons to like the inside body triangle. This is J-Rod versus Tainan Dalpra. Dalpra on the bottom. Gi Jiu-Jitsu savant, won everything as a child and then moved through and became a champion as an adult, and also now competes in no-gi. He's kind of new to no-gi, but it's been really interesting watching him adapt to it. He's a complete contrast to J-Rod, because J-Rod has no belt in Jiu-Jitsu, hasn't trained any formal gi Jiu-Jitsu, but won second in ADCC. Here Dalpra puts him in the classic body triangle, or outside body triangle, I suppose you could call it. Triangles his legs, so this one is in the back, the crook of the knee here, but this one is on the outside of J-Rod's legs. If it were an inside body triangle, it would be between J-Rod's legs. So this used to be death, and certainly in MMA for a long time people were like, that's death. But similar to it's very similar to a closed guard in how it's held, because there's nothing stopping J-Rod turning his hips over, except friction and squeeze. So J-Rod scoops under this knee here, and he's going to turn his hips over and turn his legs over and walk himself almost belly down. Like that. He's going to reach back with his left leg and get underneath that leg. There. Now this has loosened this all up, and this is part of why we were talking about getting on the side with the inside body triangle. This is the leg inside, but as you can see, everything's loose here. So he's going to hold onto this foot, and he's going to look for the opportunity to turn in on the upper body. Boom, beautiful. So here's a fight that shows beautifully the contrasts. You got regional champion Gegard Mousasi on the bottom, defending his belt and losing it against Rafael Lovato. But here Lovato, he goes up, tripoding, and Lovato's on his back. Lovato locks the body triangle on the outside here. But you can see all that's holding him on is his squeeze. He is going to slowly fall off this way. I'm going to speed it up because it's so slow. And you can see Mousasi's going to walk his hips over just like J-Rod did in a second. Like that. And Mousasi's on top. And Mousasi battered him from here. He almost stopped him. Later in the fight, Lovato gets on his back in the 5th round, and he uses the inside body triangle really well. So here he is, he's falling off to the side there. You can see how their bodies are lined up. Traditionally, the back and the body triangle, you would be chest to back, but obviously Musashi's back is like on the floor almost here. Lovato's on the side. But what he can do is he's going to use this here and getting up to his elbow to come up on top. Because this is here, it makes it very hard for Musashi to turn up into him, even if Lovato lets go with his hands. So what Lovato's going to do is get up onto his left elbow, when Musashi's done holding his glove. Boom, there. Now that ain't a great position. Mounted inside body triangle. This is something Ethan Krellenston was able to do in the Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds a couple of years ago. Krellenston, not an MMA fighter at all, but he won the Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds by getting this, well, lots of stuff, but this was a really cool thing. Inside body triangle comes up on top, starts smashing him. So if you watch, he has the inside body triangle. He's got to get his left elbow out to get to prop himself up on. Boom, and now he's up, he's on top. And the really cool thing about this is that you either get this weird sort of proto mount, which they can't escape like a mount because you can't push that back into half guard because your own foot's back stopping it. They can give up they can turn to their knees and then be on their knees fighting your chokes off. But then the bonus is that you can often flatten them out. You can come up on top and flatten them with you on their back, looking for chokes. But Krellenston just wallops him a bit here. He ends up resetting and the same thing happens again. So one of the interesting things about the inside body triangle is that it seems to have caught on largely in Japan. So this is Shinya Aoki back in the day, you can tell from the tights. Here he is with the inside body triangle from the back. So he's got his leg triangled behind, his left leg triangled behind his right, and then his right leg is hooked behind his opponent's knee. There you go. And he ends up either face crushing or neck cranking this guy for the submission. There's interesting stuff to be said about getting these weird leg configurations and getting your body off to the side when you want to neck crank people, because you can turn their head a bit more. But you'll remember Tatsuro Tairo did exactly the same thing in the UFC recently. Look at how he leans off there. He uses it like the broomstick, the mat return, to just pull Perez back to the mat. And he blows his knee out here, but I would consider that an effective technique, to be honest. And ends up belly down. If the fight hadn't been stopped, he'd have easily choked him from there with his hands trapped underneath him. This is Tatsumitsu Wada, who is not a super notable Japanese MMA fighter, but he did fight Demetrius Johnson in one. And what you'll notice here is, it just shows how tricky that's a really nice back take, actually, that little pinch headlock thing. Maybe that's why Adriano Moraes was trying the pinch headlock for 15 minutes solid in the most recent fight. But locks the body triangle inside there behind the knee, and look at how DJ has to try and high step and lean on the ring post there. It still ends up falling over. DJ's going to whip the choking hand up over the head and turn in, just like Pettis. And look. Now, if Wada passed his elbow over here and got DJ's head onto that side of his armpit, we'd be in Scottish Twister territory. But even if you don't want to do a Scottish Twister, or you don't have confidence in finishing the guy with a Scottish Twister, if you can, by pushing his head or him doing it himself, get this arm back to that side, you're on their back again, so you haven't lost anything. Ref comes in to tell him off, hit the back of the head. DJ changes his hand over on his own, and look, he's basically arm dragged himself back to the back. He's going to try the same escape here against the same inside body triangle. This is why you just don't see it that much. You do your drilled escape and you don't notice that something's changed on the bottom, and it doesn't work. But I want you to notice how quickly, when he opens his legs here, how quickly DJ's gone. This guy was so good. Boom. And then another nice example is this lad, Joji Goto, who in 2023 got 2 submissions by this, I suppose, Scottish Twister, even though he's Japanese. Whatever we're calling it. Here his opponent's turning back into him. This is the body triangle, but he actually gets his foot all the way through to the other side, so it's still like an outside body triangle, but he is very much on the side of his opponent. With the outside body triangle, you're more on their back normally, but look how far his foot's come through to stop that, to be in front of that thigh. Gnarly. Fighters are tough, but people generally don't like the idea of a life-changing back injury. And then Junji Goto's other one, this is an inside body triangle. This is interesting because, like, he might have worked out that the inside body triangle works better for this move, but his opponent just, like, crossed his legs over this leg on the body triangle, which is something Barrett Yoshida used to do with his crucifix. He just noticed that people desperately want to hold onto your leg if they don't know anything better from that position. Jerks off his face with elbows a bit here. The old Brock Lesnar hammer fist, 2 inches. Turns back in. Look at that. Look at that back arch. Inside body triangle, stopping at the inside of the thigh. Hips on the side, bending this dude in half. So, Scottish twisters, very cool. Inside body triangles, you don't even need to do the Scottish twister. It's a cool position for coming up on top. I think it's going to catch on in a big way because the single leg ride or the crossbody ride, whatever you want to call it, putting one hook in and staying on top of people from the turtle has caught on for the same reason. It's you get positional advantages and you can threaten stuff, but you don't ever roll onto your back with them in your lap. The inside body triangle makes it so that you can choose to come on top, and that's a really powerful thing to have from back control when everyone's getting reversed. I'm your boy Jack Slack. Check out the Volkanovski study I wrote earlier this week, and I'll catch you on the Boycast. Shinya Aoki's talent rippling through MMA into future generations. Bless.